What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're on Radical Red. Yes, we're on Radical Red 4.1 and the newest update of course. And today we're going to do our final mono region on the wheel. We're going to spin it anyways because, people like to spin. We got Hisui. Now, I've tried multiple times. You can see in the background my first 5 attempts possibly, maybe even more. I couldn't get it vanilla, so I had to switch up the settings a little bit, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I want to explain a little more what we're doing. We're on Radical Red 4.1. We're playing on the hardest difficulty, hardcore mode, which limits a lot of the mechanics for you and actually gives a lot of advantages to the NPCs and the AI, so have fun with that. And on top of that, to make it more fun, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments, so thank you so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll see it. Anyways, besides that, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off, I did a lot of exploring and I found that randomizing the species would actually be better for me. I could have done the scaling, but I really didn't want to because I want to get maximum Hisui Pokemon possible. And on the first few attempts, it went okay-ish. I got a few Hisui Pokemon, but I got stuck in certain roadblocks like the scientists in Mount Moon. I couldn't get past them. I was like, okay, I had 2 Pokemon. And then against Brock, it's just, I had a lot of Pokemon, just not a lot of movesets for him to use, and they're not that good. So I had to reset a lot of times, but this time I got the God Seed. So this time around, I didn't start with any Pokemon to actually lost the battle against a rival, but then once we start getting the decks now, I got a bunch of new Pokemon. I got a Basculegion, Hisuian and Basculin, a Dartrix, which will evolve into Hisuian Decidueye, all the starters actually, Hisuian Typhlosion, also Dua to evolve into Hisuian Samurott, and then the best one possibly, Sneasler in the water over here. So I'm like, okay, I have a squad. And then from there, we can make our way into Radiant Forest, and we have a pretty good chance. I did use a Duplos because didn't fill up my team, but we got through the forest pretty easy. We even unlocked infinite repels without losing too many Pokemon. And then in the extended Radiant Forest, we actually caught ourselves a Hisuian Avalok. I'm like, I have a full team already. This could actually just win me the entire run. Let's see how far I can get. So firstly, I went through and got access into Pewter City. From there, we're going to face off against Faulkner. Faulkner is the first mini-boss. We have access into Pewter City's gym after beating him. And then from there, we're going to face off against Brock, the first gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him, use my Dartrix to easily knock out his Hippopotas. He then switch out into his room, which I'll break his air balloon and then switch out into my Typhlosion. It's a bit crazy to have fully evolved Pokemon, that's fine though. My Typhlosion is going to go down to the leap, but I go out into my Sneasler to knock out the leap and then chip down the room, eventually knocking out the room. His next Pokemon is going to be a Lunatone. I sacrifice my Dartrix as I go out to my Basculegion. He's going to chip down a Lunatone, but he's going to switch out into his Cacnea. I go out into my Sneasler to knock out the Cacnea for me and also chip down the Arcan. Then go out to my Duat to clean up, knock out the Arcan and the Lunatone for us as we beat down Brock. Get ourselves the first gym badge in the game. Now we can progress forwards. We're going to make our way into Route 4 to face off against this trainer and then head into Mount Moon. Clear through the scientists, so we already made it the furthest possible way we've ever made it. So from there, we beat down the scientist, then we face off against Archer. He's a pretty easy fight. Even though his Viper has Hypnosis, it should be fine as we make our way into Cerulean City. Afterwards, we actually unlock the move learners. We can learn moves anytime we want. And then from there, we can face off against Misty immediately. I'm going to start the battle off against Misty, use my Dartrix to just chip down the Politoed and then force him out into the Toxicroak. I'm going to switch out into my Typhlosion, which is a bit scary because it does have Suck Punch. It's going to Suck Punch me, but I do have extra sensory to chip it down. Actually just knocks it out in one shot. As we knock out her Toxicroak, as her next Pokemon will be a Ludicolo, it knocks out my poor Typhlosion, but I go out into my Sneasler to Dire Claw, one shot it. I'm not even at the level cap for this gym, so that's actually interesting. I went for Rock Smash to lower the defense of the Clodsire. It didn't work out, as from there I'm going to go out into my Avalok. I'm going to get a Sharpen Up, which is one of the only boosting moves you can have in hardcore mode, so it's actually pretty good for us. We got Sharpen Up, and then I got +4 to knock out the Clodsire. Eventually, we actually chipped down a Starmie with +4 Assault Rock. Then go out into my Dartrix to Sucker Punch. Doesn't kill the Starmie as it knocks me out. I go out to my Dewott to knock out the Starmie. And then from there, you can switch out into your Mantine. I chip down with Knockoff. And then from there, the only Pokemon I have left is going to be Basculegion. I go for a Phantom Force. It actually does 2-shot him, and I do get confused, but I do survive. I knock out the Mantine and also break through Confusion and knock out the Politoed as we end up beating down Misty and getting our second gym badge. From there, the level cap jumps up high enough so we can evolve everyone. We evolve my Dartrix into Hisuian Decidueye and also Hisuian Samurott, which is really cool. We're going to make our way through the Nugget Bridge easily, since our team is fully evolved now and fully strong. From there, we got a Lunatone raid. It's just kind of funny that I just found a Lunatone raid. Everything's randomized. Yeah, I tried to breed and it didn't work out. We also get ourselves an Ursaluna, which is a Blood Moon version. I forgot if that's in Hisui or not, so I know Ursaluna is, but I don't remember the Blood Moon being Hisuian. But you know what? I count it as Hisuian Pokemon. It's going to count as a Hisuian Pokemon. From there, we're going to make our way into the SSN, clear through that, and then face off against Lieutenant Surge. Next, we're going to start the battle off against Surge using my Typhlosion. Typhlosion is going to two-shot into the Roaring Frost pretty easily. From there, he's going to switch out to his Polnon. I go out into my Ursaluna, eventually knock out the Polnon, and then force out the Hitmonlee, which I go back out into my Typhlosion, chip it down, and then go out to my Decidueye. Triple arrows to knock him out, and then chip down a Raichu that comes out next, and then also knock him out with my Aqua Jet on my Samurott. From there, he's going to switch out to his Electrode, which I firstly sack my Ursaluna, and then go out into my Sneasler, take the Explosion, which isn't the greatest play, but from there, I'm going to switch out into my Avlog to sharpen up, and then Ice Shard, and then knock down the Ampharos. Actually didn't knock him out. I gotta go out to my Samurott, but Samurott's able to knock him out as we end up beating down Lieutenant Surge. Now from there, we're going to make our way into the Rock Tunnel. There is a lot of lacking of encounters. We haven't got a Hisuian Pokemon in a long time. The last one we got was, actually no, it wasn't too long ago. Ursaluna was right before Vermilion City, but we just want more. We wanted Kleavor. Kleavor is one of the best Pokemon possible to get, and I was really hoping I could get it. Spoiler, I didn't get it at all, so that's kind of unfortunate. Anyways, we make our way through the Rock Tunnel and then make our way into Lavender Town, and then eventually into Celadon City, where there's still no encounters for us. There's a bunch of Raikou. There's a legendary Pokemon everywhere. We do have a Sliggoo and a Hisuian Zora in the back. That's pretty good for us, as from there, we're going to move out and face off against Erica's gym. We're going to make our way into Erica's gym and face off against her. We're going to start the battle off against her using, well, she has a new Pokemon to start out. She has Ogerpon, the Grass Mask, which I'm still not too sure how it works. I'm going to use my Decidueye to Leaf Blade into him, and then she's going to switch out to her Slowbro. It's kind of scary as I go out to my Samurott. Samurott gets caught with the Kartana Teleport. Luckily enough, I can switch out to my Typhlosion to one-shot it, and I could clean up that mess. From there, she can switch out into a Mega Sceptile, which is kind of scary. I go out to my Avalon, tank the Draco Barrage, and then Ice Shard to knock him out in one shot. From there, she can switch out into her Slowbro, which teleports into Hawlucha. I go out into my Typhlosion, block the fighting move, and then survive a Stone Edge, Lava Plume, and burns the Hawlucha, which is a lucky play. From there, I go out to my Avalon once again to Ice Shard, hopefully get up to max HP so I get Sturdy back up. And then from there, she can switch out into her Toxicity and our Slowbro just in between, and then her Ogerpon as well. From this period, I'm not too sure what happened to the AI, but it keeps switching back and forth, and eventually I'm able to knock out the Slowbro and Ogerpon as we beat down Erica. From there, we're gonna make our way into the game corner, and before we face off against Giovanni, we're gonna check every single possible encounter in here. Unfortunately, none of them are any Hisuian Pokemon at all, so it's kind of a waste of time. But from there, we're going to make our way into the bottom of the game corner and face off against Giovanni. He's a really easy fight, as from there, we're going to make our way into Lavender Tower and clear through all the trainers in here, get ourselves the Poke Flute, and from there, we're going to face off against a rival in Silphco. The team is pretty solid, as you can see. Dire Claw is one of the most broken moves. It has like a possibility to get 1 of 3 status if you get lucky enough. So we get Paralyzed, Sleep, or Poison. So it's one of the most broken moves in hardcore mode. From there, we're gonna make our way into the fight against Archer and Ariana. It's a pretty easy fight since we have pretty strong Pokemon, and Brendan's actually useful. From there, we're gonna move on and face off against Giovanni once again. Cleared on Giovanni really easily. Sneasler is a really good Pokemon, and then face off against Chuck next. Chuck's actually a pretty hard fight. We got really lucky at the end with my 1 HP Avalok. We also get the Focus Sash from him, which is really nice. And then from there, we're gonna face off against Sabrina, one of the only fights that I got hard stuck on for a little bit. She has infinite Trick Room and also infinite Misty Terrain, so we gonna start the battle off against her, use my Basket Legion and also my Samurott. Aqua Jet into the camera and bait out the Misty Explosion by going out into my Gudra, surviving the Misty Explosion, and then from there, 3 Pokemon get knocked out, one of them it's mine. I go out to my Samurott next, hoping to get to the Jellicent, and then from there I could Sucker Punch into him and also Thunderbolt into him as they target down my Samurott to knock out. I survived the Water Spout because it's at 0 HP basically. Thunderbolt to knock out the Jellicent, and then from there I go out to my Typhlosion with a Focus Sash. I can go for any move with my Gudra to sack it, and then Flamethrower with my Typhlosion to knock out the Magearna. From there I go out into my Avalok next. From there, we're just going to try to Rock Slide into the Glacier and try to knock him out with my Decidueye combo in the back. So I go out to my Decidueye afterwards, sacking my Typhlosion. I got a lucky Accel Rock crit and knock out the Glacier, and then High Jump Kick twice into the Iron Hands, eventually knocking him out as we beat down Sabrina with a lot of luck on our side. From there, we're going to move on and face off against all the trainers on Second Road and then make our way into Fuchsia City. We also went back because we have the Super Rod now. We're going to start actually Super Rod hunting for an Overqwil. We got a shiny Heatran on accident, so that was cool. The I don't know what happened to the colors. It looks really messed up. So I think this might be like a test trial update. But either way, we're gonna get ourselves an Overqwil. We're gonna catch it, add it to my team. We don't use it too often, but Overqwil is one of my favorite Pokemon. From there, we're gonna move on and face off against Brendan in the Safari Zone. Clear the room, have access into the Safari Zone, obviously. And there's a lot of Pokemon in here. It's just randomizers, so I can't really check. From there, we're gonna face off against Brock. Brock's a pretty difficult fight. We actually reset a lot of times against him, but eventually we got through him, and he was probably the hardest one of the three. We had to rematch before we face off against Koga. Next up, we're going to face off against Misty next, and Misty's a lot easier because my team has a lot of Swift Swimmers and also a lot of Pokemon just generally better than her team. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Lieutenant Surge next, and Surge barely almost beats us again, but lucky enough, Grudra is actually kind of tanky and actually survives a lot of moves for us. Beat down Lieutenant Surge, and now we make our way into Fuchsia City, and we're going to face off against Koga next. Koga is the 6th gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Avlog. Avlog has Sturdy, so we're going to be able to bait in the Focus Blast as Ray uses Mountain Gale and knock out the Tapu Lele. From there, his next Pokemon is going to be Shiyu. I'm going to sack my Avlog and then go out to my Gudra next. Gudra's able to Muddy Water twice, survive any move from the Shiyu, and then knock him out. From there, he's going to switch out into his Hoopa Unbound. It's going to knock me out as I go out to my Sneasler. U-turn, always one-shots it because it's 4 times weak. Knock out the Hoopa Unbound, and then go out into my Ursaluna. From there, I'm going to go out to my Overqwil and then just use Intimidate on it and then knock out the Crocodile. I'm going to sack my Overqwil and my Sneasler for some reason and then go out into my Ursaluna to knock out the Toxicity and then sacrifice my Ursaluna against the Nidoking. Go out to my Samurott to Aquatail and knock out the Nidoking in one shot as we beat down Koga for the 6th gym badge in the game. From there, we're going to move on into Seafoam Island. We're going to clear through Seafoam Island. There's still no encounters around us for certain Pokemon. It's kind of annoying. But from there, we're going to move on and face off against Price next. Get ourselves the Choice Scarf, which actually there's a nerf to Choice Scarves. I'll tell you that in a little bit. From there, we're going to move on and face off against our rival May in front of Cinnabar Island's mansion. And then we're going to move on. Here's the update. There's a few new Pokemon. We have Electrode. That's about it. From there, we're going to move on, face off against Blaine's gym trainers, and then face off against Blaine himself. We're going to start the battle off against Blaine using my Sneasler. Sneasler was able to scare out the Sandy Shock into the Great Tusk, which are Dire Claw and Paralyze, which is really good. So I go out to my Ursaluna next. Ursaluna is actually a special attacker, so I go for a Moonblast and knock out the Great Tusk. His next Pokemon is going to be a Walking Wake. It's going to one-shot me, so I go out into my Decidueye. With its hidden ability, I'm able to go actually outspeed the Walking Wake with a high jump kick. It's not gonna knock him out though, but that's fine. I go out to my Caesar to knock out the Walking Wake. His next Pokemon is gonna be a Venusaur, which I go out to my Typhlosion. I take the Weather Ball pretty easily, boost up my fire moves actually, and then from there he's gonna go for a Growth. I go for an Eruption, and then knock him out with 2 Eruptions as his next Pokemon will be a Ho-Oh. I sacrifice my Typhlosion here as I go out into my Overqwil to Explosion. Maybe not the best play, but from there I go out to my Avlog to knock out the Ho-Oh, respawn it, and then knock him out with another Cell Rock. From there his next Pokemon is gonna be a Sandy Shock. Go out to my Sneasler. I am able to Drain Punch, regain my Focus Edge, and then knock him out with a second Drain Punch. His next Pokemon is gonna be a Charizard X, which I Dire Claw into him. I go out to my Avlog to bait the Flavor Blitz. From there he's gonna knock myself down into a Cell Rock range, which we're able to Cell Rock and knock out. So we beat down Blaine. It looks closer than it actually was, but we had the entire match in control. From there, we're going to make our way into Cerulean Cave and face off against Archer. And against Archer, incredible performance. We almost actually just beat him without losing a Pokemon. We do end up losing a few Pokemons at the end. And then from there, we can face off against Ariana. Ariana's a pretty easy fight as well. From there, we can beat down both of them. And then from there, we can face off against Giovanni next. Giovanni, with my Eruption Typhlosion, no matter what kind of game it is, Eruption Typhlosion is just so much fun to use. We eventually beat down Giovanni on our first attempt, and then from there, we're going to face off against Claire next. Claire's going to be the 8th gym leader in the game. We're set to battle off against her using my Sneasler. We're able to not stop. We can't stop the hazard. She go for a Dire Claw, put the Shuckle to sleep, and then force out the Eternatus. From there, I go out to my Ursaluna to take a Dynamax Cannon, and then for some reason, this works out. I went for a Bodo's Earth Power, and the 2 Earth Powers would knock out the Eternatus. Her next Pokemon will be Archelodon, which is one of the newer Duraludon forms. So I go out to my Decidueye next, high jump kick into him to knock him out. And if for some reason she goes out to a Roaring Moon, and it goes for a knockoff, doesn't knock me off as I go for the triple arrows and knock him down to red HP. Sucker Punch to knock him out. Force out the Ultra Necrozma, Sucker Punch into him, and then go out into my Samurott. I forgot I got rid of Sucker Punch for a second here, but Ceaseless Edge would knock out the Ultra Necrozma. As from there, the Magearna is going to knock me out. I go out to my Typhlosion, knock him out with a Flamethrower, and knock out the Shuckle with a few Flamethrowers. As we end up beating down Claire, and we have all 8 gym badges, making our way into the Elite Four next. We're going to face off against our rival in round 22 and 23. Pretty easy fights. As from there, we're trying to get some Choice Guards from him. I wasn't too sure if the tables have changed or not, but I've tried a lot. and I was like, this is really not working. I even tried to use save states and try to reset and try to get the items quicker. Never got a choice card from it. I was like, maybe they actually patched it. So I have to check on the raid den drops. They even switch up the Shedinja fight over here, so you can't actually like beat them. So yeah, you have to just wait through the entire fight. But from there, we're gonna move out, and this is our final team. I really wanted to use Overquill, but it didn't really fit on my team. My team is gonna be Typhlosion, Samurott, Decidueye, Sneasler, Avalok, and Ursaluna. I didn't really want Ursaluna, but I think it's really good to have because in case I needed it. I wanted Overquill more, but you know what? It's fine. From there, we're gonna have actually a lot of attempts against Lorelei. This is the hardest fight in the game for me because nothing was working out for me. But lucky enough, something finally clicks. As we start the battle off against Lorelei, she's using her Ice team. I go for my Avalok and Typhlosion play. I go for an Ice Shard against Landorus, and then go for an Infernum against the Glaceon. We're gonna make sure we knock out the Glaceon, as from there, the Landorus can switch out to the Kyurem White. From there, I'm gonna Accel Rock into the Shinpow to break his Focus Sash, but it's gonna knock out both my Avalok and Typhlosion. I'm gonna go out to my Decidueye and Sneasler next. Sneasler is able to go for a Drain Punch and knock out the Shinpow and knock out the Kyurem White for us, as my Decidueye is able to go for a Rock Slide and flinch down the Shinpow for us, which is really good. From there, you can switch out into your Landorus, which I'm gonna go for a Rock Slide once again, and then Mach Punch into the Shinpow to make sure I knock him out. It goes for a U-turn, so you can switch out into your Tapu Fini and then Landorus once again. I get -2 on my attack, so at this point, we're gonna make sure we knock out the Landorus to nullify any more Intimidates. And then from there, my Sneasler and also the Decidueye, I gotta switch out. As our last two Pokemon will be a Bomb Stone and Tapu Fini. I go out into my Ursaluna and also Samurott to reset my attack stats. My Ursaluna gets one-shotted because it's terrible. I go out to my Decidueye next. Decidueye is able to go for a High Jump Kick against the Abomasnow, and then we're able to Aqua Jet into him. My Decidueye goes down, but my Samurott survives 2 Blizzards. As I go out to my Sneasler, Sneasler is able to Mach Punch and knock out the Abomasnow, and then from there we could just chip down against the Tapu Fini. With Dire Claw and my Samurott, we're able to easily knock out the Tapu Fini as we beat down Lorelei. And yeah, we got very lucky at the end, but we got through it. As from there, we're going to move on and face off against Bruno next. Bruno's going to be the second Elite Four member in the game. We're start the battle off against him using my Avalok. Avalok's able to just chip down Infernape with Bodos and Ice Shard to knock him out, preventing Stealth Rocks. And then from there, he's going to switch out to his Necross, but it knocks out my Avalok. I go out to my Samurott, which will actually outspeed him, and then two-shot him, and then knock him out with 2 Ceaseless Edge and set of spikes for us, which is huge. From there, he's going to switch out to Zacian, which I get an Aqua Jet, and then go out to my Typhlosion, Eruption, Flamethrower to knock him out, as the next one will be a Zeraora. I go for a Flamethrower, he's gonna knock me out. I go out to my Ursaluna, Earth Power to knock him out, which is really huge. And then from there, his next one will be a Lucario. He's gonna knock on my Ursaluna, but I have too many good Pokemon. I switch out to my Decidueye, High Jump Kick to knock out the Lucario, and then chip down the Iron Valiant a little bit as I go out into my Sneasler, knock him out with a Dire Claw, and we easily beat down Bruno with 1 HP. You know, it's still really easy fight. We had the fight controlled the entire time. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Agatha next. We're going to face off against the Agatha, use my Avalok. We have Rapid Spin to block any Stealth Rock shenanigans. I go for a Mountain Gale, knock him down to his Focus Sash, and then he sets up Stealth Rocks. I go for a Rapid Spin, spin out the Stealth Rocks, and then from there, I have full HP on my Avalok to Mirror Coat into the Victini, knock him out as well, and their next one will be a Mewtwo. I'm not too sure why it's Black Mewtwo, but I go out to my Ursaluna next. I go for a Blood Moon. Okay, and this it's gonna knock me out. That was kind of embarrassing. Go out to my Typhlosion next to knock out the Mewtwo X. From there, you switch out to your Calyrex, which I go out to my Samurott to Ceaseless Edge and knock out the Calyrex. I go from there. The Crocodile is dead too because the spikes got landed. From there, I'm gonna sacrifice my Samurott against the Yveltal. As from there, I'll go out into my Typhlosion again and then sacrifice it with Eruption. Okay. Go out to my Caesar to knock out the Yveltal, and then from there, I could Dire Claw into the Flutter Mane, knock him out, which is pretty easy. From there, Spikes knocks out the Crocodile as we beat down Agatha. Pretty easy fight. As from there, we're going to move on and face off against Lance next. We're going to start the battle off against Lance with a lot of retries, as you can see. We started the battle off against Lance using my Typhlosion to Extra Sensory, flinch down to Glimmora, which is just deny hazards entirely. From there, he's going to force him out into his next Pokemon. So I go out to my Decidueye, caught the Melmetal, and then I'm like, I don't want to face off against this thing. So I switched out. I switched out to my Avalok, caught the Arceus Fairy, which I'll take. As from there, I can Mirror Coat into him with my Sturdy, knock out the Arceus, and then from there, I switch out to my Typhlosion against the Melmetal. But either way, got him down to half HP. Go out to my Decidueye to High Jump Kick and knock him out. From there, his next Pokemon is going to be a Rayquaza. I sacrifice my Avalok here and then go out into my Sneasler to counter into the Rayquaza, knock him out, and then his next Pokemon is going to be a Dragonite. Switch out into my Ursaluna to break its multi-scale and then Moonblast into him. Yeah, could have just Moonblast twice into him, honestly, but either way, it works out. As from there, his next opponent is going to be a Dialga. So knock out my Ursaluna, I got into my Decidueye, high jump kick into the Dialga, and then go out to my Samurott. It goes for a rest, as I could just Cecil's Edge infinitely and then eventually knock him out. And then Samurott's really broken, I just realized that. Anyways, from there, maybe the Sucker Punch and knock out the Glimmora as well, as we beat down Lance. And yeah, Samurott's very tanky and just sets out spikes for us. A broken Pokemon, honestly. Everything in Hisui is broken. It's just there's not a lot of Hisuian Pokemon. Anyways, from there, we're going to move on and face off against the champion in the game. We're going to face off against our rival. He's going to start the battle off against us using a Groudon. I go for my Ursaluna because I can Earth Power into him. And then from there, he's going to try to Heat Crash into me. I eventually knock him out, as the next opponent will be a Xerneas. I go for a Blood Moon, and then from there, he knocks me out, but I go out into my Sneasler. Sneasler is able to Dire Claw into the Arceus ground, and then go out into my Samurott. Samurott gets the craziest luck here. It doesn't get hurt at all. Gets paralyzed 3 times. Yeah, 3 times in a row, and then I seize his edge 3 times. Eventually knock out the Arceus ground, set up 3 layers of spikes, and then from there force out Paradox Entei. From there I'm able to ceaseless edge into him, and it goes for Dragon Dance twice. I'm like, okay, why is it like, okay, I'm gonna Sucker Punch into him. It doesn't knock him out, but he's gonna knock himself out with Draco Barrage. I go out into my Avalon next against the Eternatus. Ice Shard into him as he knocks me out with a Flamethrower. I go out into my Typhlosion next, go for an Extra Sensory, survive a Draco Barrage, and then knock him out. From there, his next opponent is going to be a Koraidon. I do outspeed him, Extra Sensory into him to chip him down and go out into my Sneasler, Mach Punch, and then he knocks himself out with a Flare Blitz. His final opponent will be a Xerneas, my final opponent will be a Decidueye. With my hidden ability, I can outspeed the Xerneas, Leaf Blade will knock out the Xerneas, as we end up beating down our rival and the champion in the game, completing our Mono Region run with Hisui. I'm glad it was actually at the end and I did the new update on the finale. So that means there's new opportunities. Radical Red will never die for me. But anyways, that will be the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Let me know what you guys thought of the Mono Region wheel, and let me know some more challenge ideas in the comments down below. Anyways, this was probably one of my favorite runs. It wasn't the fastest, but it was honestly one of the funnest. But anyways, that will be it for me. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name's been Alpha, and I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.